Hello neighbor, I'm Robert Burns and welcome once again to another edition of Sound Off Louisiana. Today it is my distinguished honor to have two lovely young ladies as our guest. We have Miss Janice Willard. She is the president of the Baton Rouge EMS, and also Miss Allison Sharp. She is the vice president of Baton Rouge EMS. They will be espousing upon the proposed merger between the Baton Rouge Fire and the EMS services that we've covered, both from the vantage point of Walter Beach, who has the EMS reform, and also from Jake Morgan, who is the Baton Rouge Firefighters Union president. So with that, I'm ready to turn the floor over to you. It's all yours.
Good morning, Robert. Thank you for having us on here to talk about some stuff that's been brought up by Mr. Beach, also by Jake Morgan. My name is Janice Willard. I've been a paramedic for 12 years now. I've been at East Baton Rouge EMS for 11 and a half years. I started my career at a fire-based EMS service. It was a very small rural service where merging fire and EMS actually makes sense because you have a lot less number of people and people to do the job. But in doing that, I decided that I wanted to be a paramedic. Okay. I didn't want to focus on the fire side because we were fire trained. I had firefighter 1, hazmat ops. I have all of those trainings. But because we were fire trained, we did have to do additional fire training. Wasn't my thing. It's not my thing. I'm not a fireman by any means. So I came to EMS. I've been here, like I said, for 11 and a half years. In last October, I was elected the president of the EMS Association.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Which is a non-union group of employees that we have historically tried to make things better within the department. We're kind of a go-between between the people on the street and then management, and bringing issues, bringing things to light that that may be going on in the department.
I see.
The irony is the association, this moment right here is actually what we are built for, right? We are here speaking for the majority of the department.
Okay.
And how the majority of the department feels about this proposed takeover of EMS by the Baton Rouge Fire Department.
Okay.
All right. Hi, I'm Allison Sharp. I've been employed with East Baton Rouge Parish EMS for almost 14 years. Prior to that, I worked for Acadian Ambulance Service, total time in emergency medical services, almost 24 years. The beginning of next year will make 24 years.
I didn't realize you were even 24 years old.
Thank you. So I've been in this for a while.
Okay.
I'm excited to touch some issues that have been previously discussed and get into it.
Very good.
So a little bit of background. East Baton Rouge EMS was founded in 1982. And at that time, it was set up as a third service system. And what that means is we are basically self-funded. We are not associated with any sort of hospital system. We are not associated with any sort of fire department. We receive a dedicated millage from the parish that was set up in 1982, voted on by the parish. It gets voted on every 10 years. And it has a 65% or greater approval rating, and the parish votes it every year, or every 10 years to renew it. Our millage is 3.31. Since 1982, we've never asked for an increase in that millage. We've never gone back to the voters and said we need more money. The other money that we get is from third-party billing, private billing, Medicare, Medicaid reimbursement for services that we render. Things that the millage goes for, I think it was in 2023, the department actually went to Medicaid and said, hey, can we use a portion of the millage to do the copay for these Medicaid patients that we transport? The billing people, they're wonderful. They did their things. They worked with Medicaid and they got that figured out. So part of our millage is used to pay co-pays for all of the Medicaid patients that we do transport. But then it also, a portion of it goes to our salaries, a portion of it goes to supplies, and then equipment that we use on a day-to-day basis. But the millage also offsets whatever Medicare and Medicaid doesn't reimburse the department.
Okay.
The millage offsets that difference.
I see.
And so people that are on Medicare and Medicaid, they never get an additional bill from EMS.
Oh, okay.
And that's people in the parish, right?
Okay.
Because it's a parish-wide millage. Again, this has been something that has been voted on. It gets renewed every 10 years, and we have a 65% or higher yes vote.
Yes.
So in June 23rd of 2025 to be exact, EMS found out that there was a proposed, the mayor presents it as a merge. It's a takeover of EMS by the Baton Rouge Fire Department. And the majority of employees found out about this proposed takeover by a press release that we were emailed from the mayor's office. If we had enough time to check our email, that's how we found out. Ironically, the majority of the department found out because they follow, WAFB, something like that, the Advocate, and they found out from a news article on Facebook.
Okay.
This didn't sit horribly well with many people at the department. And so it's caused a lot of morale issues. It's caused a lot of trepidation. It's caused a lot of, Jake said, people are scared of the unknown. Absolutely. People are absolutely afraid of the unknown, especially people who have been working for EMS for 24, 25 years, 10 years. What's going to happen, because there are examples all over the country of fire departments taking over EMS systems.
Oh, I didn't.
And they've failed.
Really?
Yes, they failed miserably.
You,
New York would be the poster child. Currently, New York EMS and fire are trying to separate. So the irony here is, in the 80s, the early 80s, right around the time EMS was being formed down here, New York Fire was taking over New York EMS, and now 43 years later, they're trying to separate again.
Wow.
Because it just doesn't work. Again, there is a time and a place for the fire department and for EMS to be one entity, but it's been my experience that those times are in smaller rural communities where you have a less draw of people, you have a smaller population to pick from, right? And it's a lot of volunteer. You're going to be a dual role. You're going to ride the ambulance, you're going to ride the fire truck, you're going to be an EMT, you're going to be an advanced EMT, things like that. I don't know, Allison?
I don't have anything to add to that portion of it. Talk about.
So we've been told that a lot of this takeover of EMS is going to be about efficiencies, about increasing staffing for EMS. One of the big efficiencies that they've talked about is it's going to come from areas such as maintenance of the fleet and the stations.
yes.
So that's actually been tried before. Back when EMS was first started, it was in its infancy. We had an MOU with the Baton Rouge Fire Department for mechanical maintenance of our ambulances. It quickly became apparent that we needed too much maintenance. And I mean, we have trucks that run 24 hours a day, right? And so they never stop. And so every day we're sending trucks to get oil changed. We're getting into different trucks because of some sort of mechanical issue. Our oldest trucks on the road right now are 5 years old, and they have 150,000 miles on them, and over 10,000 engine hours. They just don't ever shut off. And so that's why we ended up ultimately having to utilize DPW as an option. We also use other private agencies and private mechanical places in the parish because DPW also cannot fully meet the needs that we have.
Well, one of the things that the proponents have said is the whole matter of you all having to report to DPW or being under DPW. Let me make that distinction. They think that's a drawback. Do you have any thoughts on that?
No, under DPW. That's a misconception.
Okay, well, I'm glad to get better educated because that's what I've been told.
So the Department of EMS was created under a clause in the plan of government under DPW that states, it's basically saying we know that we may not have everything figured out right now, and to add additional services, you can do so under this clause under DPW in the plan of government. So but we're not officially under DPW. EMS was created under a clause under the plan of government under DPW.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up because I'm not going to say who, but a high-ranking individual.
I hope I cleared that up.
Right.
So,
I didn't make that up myself. So
no, that's a very common misconception that we are under DPW, but we are in fact not. We're kind of this little standalone, but they had to put us somewhere, right? They had to put us under some sort of umbrella within the government structure. And so yeah, we're just kind of a little island out here by ourselves.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll just interject very briefly. I've also, it's been said, and I think Jake alluded to it, that we all have a high dependence on firefighters to presently ride in the EMS, and so they're, I don't know how to phrase the question, but they're saying if everything is running so great at EMS, why is there such a high dependence upon firefighters to literally ride with EMS services? So would y'all mind addressing?
Absolutely.
There's a national shortage of paramedics. This is not something unique to the Department of EMS here.
Okay.
National shortage. We can dive into the paramedic program we have going right now. Yes, firefighters have been riding on the ambulance since 2021. It started off as like a COVID task force, and then kind of evolved from there. Do you want to elaborate some more?
Yeah, so in 2021, in 2020, we created a task force because COVID was a thing, the world shut down.
Sure.
And what we did is the Department of EMS came and asked for volunteers to ride an ambulance, and your partner was going to be a fireman because we were trying to minimize exposure because we had no idea, right?
On the COVID, right.
Correct. And so we were trying to minimize exposure, minimize people responding to these calls, and so that was what we did, and that was the task force. And what that looked like was the firemen that were on the COVID task force. They were there to, and I can speak to this personally because I was on the task force. These firemen were my partner, and I couldn't have asked for a better group of guys. They were wonderful, but they were there to help me initiate patient care, to help me do patient movement, and then safely get me to the hospital. Almost everybody that works for Baton Rouge Fire at this point in time is trained at an EMT level minimum. But due to our director, our medical director, the firemen that ride the ambulances can only operate at an EMR level.
Okay.
And so that's actually even under an EMT. So they can do things such as help me get vitals on a patient, get the patient moved, but ultimately I was responsible for all patient care. Absolutely all patient care. And so that responsibility fell to me. It fell to the other paramedics that were on the task force. Well, in 2021, we were having some significant staffing issues that have not gotten better.
Okay.
And so EMS management came back to us and said, we're going to put firemen on the trucks. This is going to be like a 6-week fix.
Okay.
Well, here we are, 4 years later. Again, these men have been wonderful. I could not have asked, men and women, I could not have asked for some better partners. But they're still only allowed to function as advanced or not advanced EMTs, but EMRs. They, and so on the fire truck, they can function at an EMT level, but the fire trucks don't carry ALS equipment. They don't, so their advanced EMTs, their paramedics that they have, they can't start IVs, they can't do fluid administration because they don't even carry those things on the fire truck.
Okay.
So they can provide basic life-saving options. They can initiate CPR. If it's necessary, they could administer oxygen. The fire department does carry an iGel now, which is a breathing device. If somebody's not breathing, they can insert that and help oxygenate them properly. But ultimately, we have to get there to provide the advanced life-saving care that these patients need.
Okay.
But more to the point, the city's left us no choice but to hire these firemen. As Allison said, it's not necessarily a national shortage of paramedics, EMTs, and advanced EMTs. The reality of that situation is the scope of practice that a paramedic has and the responsibility that we have on the truck and the number of hours that we work, the number of patient contacts that we work, how hard we work is not reflected in our pay. And that is 100% a national issue. Paramedics are highly overworked and very underpaid. And the city actually did a study a couple years ago and found that EMS was, in their words, grossly underpaid. Which brings us to the next topic that we will unfortunately have to get to in segment 2.
All righty. Well, I'll tell you what, folks, I think this has been extremely informative. I want to thank both Ms. Willard and Ms. Sharp. You've certainly educated me, especially on the misconception about you folks not actually reporting to DPW. There's been some other revelations that I'm sure everybody will find most intriguing, and we are going to have segment 2, which you will not want to miss. So thank everybody for your dedication and tuning in to Sound Off Louisiana, and we look forward to bringing you segment 2 of this fascinating feature, delving deeply into a deep dive into the proposed merger of EMS services with the Baton Rouge Fire Department. We'll see you again soon on Sound Off Louisiana. Thank you so much.